Alright, hi guys, I'm back with another video. This is for the Mini Kit Monday kit. If you haven't heard about the 4x4 series, we take 4 different sheets of paper. It's a kit essentially. And what you do is you pick out 4 pieces of paper, 4 alphas, 4 washies, or a combination of washies, border strips, or ribbon. It's whatever you'd like, but it's a combination of 4. 4 paper types, 4 embellishments if you will, or 4 border types. It could be any combination of which you like. If you pick out letter stickers, pick out 4 sets. The list goes on and on. You can even do an order of 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of photos so that you can have 1 photo layout on the first layout, a 2 photo layout on the second layout, a 3 photo layout on the third layout, and a 4 photo layout on the fourth layout if you choose to do so. Janet has several of these versions of the 4x4 series and she's tried several things to do on them. So if you'd like to take a peek over at her videos, that would be something that could give you an idea of what this series entails. I was introduced to this series, I think this is her very own series, and she does a much better job of explaining it. But the one thing that you do need to keep track of, especially in this 4x4 series, is the type of paper that you pick and the order in which you pick it. You pick them in order of your most favorite to the least favorite. So that's what the order is supposed to be. But knowing that I'm going to cut paper number 3 in a 6x12 and a 6x6 the other half, then I know that I want to keep this number 3 paper as my third paper, and then this one my number 2, this one my number 1, and then I went with how this one was going to be cut in the end. So I kind of went backwards if you will, this being my driving factor. But for this one I did choose, because I am going to do 2 sets, I decided that I would do it the way that it is intended, where you pick your most favorite pattern the way that Janet intended it to. It is meant to have fun, and it is a play on, it's a different take on just trying to achieve either multiple sets of layouts and also playing with paper and it being a stress-free and just going with the flow type of execution, if you will. So I did pick out my most favorite pattern for this set, which is this one, the next being the wood grain, then this leaf pattern, and then the red plaid at the end. So since I have 2 sets of papers, I am going to show you how to cut these papers. You don't need 2 sets. That was just something that I chose to do. The 4x4 does consist of 4 sheets of paper and then a bonus, and then you also have cardstock if you need to mat or do a double page or etc, etc. The choice is yours. I'm going to cut my first paper for my second set at 9x12. So I'm going to pull out my paper trimmer, look for the 9 here, because this paper should or is close to being a 12-inch paper. So I'm going to cut it by 9 on this side, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's my 9x12, and then this I'm supposed to cut at 1.5x12. So there's the cuts to my first sheet of paper. Oh, one more thing I wanted to note. You have to keep track of what it is that you pick as your first, second, third, and fourth paper. And so what I did is I wrote them on the sheet of paper that I have for both sets, the first set and the second set. So I know what name I've assigned the paper itself if it doesn't have one already. Mine come from a paper pad, so I just gave a description that I know I assigned to the particular paper. Green floral, wood grain, dark small leaf, red plaid. So you do need this because it is important to have as we go through the 4x4 series. So this is the first paper, 9x12, 1.5x12, and 1.5x12. The second one is my wood grain, and that will be 7x12. So there it is at the 7-inch mark. I'm not trying to be real meticulous, but I do want them to come out straight. And then this one we're gonna cut at 4x12 and 1x12. So if we're gonna do this one a 4, let's do that. The one thing that I did want to point out is that you might want to consider, that's a 1, I think I cut that short, but that's okay. See, especially this part is because the ruler right there cuts into the paper and I just didn't notice. But anyway, moving on. One thing I did want to say about this is that if you do pick out paper with lettering, it will affect the overall design of your paper. paper number 3 is going to be 6 by 12, so that's our first cut. And if you are apprehensive of picking patterns, in her first series for the 4x4, 6 by 12, and then this is going to be 6 by 6 cut, and then 6 by 6 for the second cut, which is already comes out when you cut the first one, is that she made, I think, a polka dot, a stripe, a floral, and then something that reads as a solid. Just play with your papers. If they come in a paper pad, then it would be much easier to be able to coordinate papers. This is a 4 by 12. And this one is cut at 4 by 12, and then again at 4 by 12. And they should all be even cuts. If they're a little bit off, I blame the ruler. But that's your paper number 4. So that's what I did. I'm using the Warm and Cozy collection, and I picked all 4 of my papers from the same paper pad, and I know that they go. I just tried to work and play with the textures in the paper, or the size of the size relative to each other. This floral is a lot bigger than this leaf pattern, and it doesn't compete with any of the other pattern papers. This is completely different than this pattern, and so are these two. They differ from each other in the fact that the size of the pattern doesn't compete with each other. So that's what I chose for my second set. Now I'm gonna cut my first set. Also, I don't know if I mentioned, I know I started to talk about it, but I don't think I finished my thought. This is paper number 1, and I'm just gonna lay everything on top of it because it's the one with the biggest piece. This is paper number 2, the wood grain, 7 by 12, 4 by 12, and 1 by 12. Mine's a little bit off, but it's still okay. Paper number 3, 6 by 12, and the 2 6 by 6s, okay? And paper number 4 was 4 by 12, 4 by 12, and 4 by 12. So I wanted to leave these cuts. I wanted to make a video of them, and then we're going to begin with our first layout, and that's when we will come out with the combinations of what size papers you need from each of the papers that you cut, from each of the 4 papers that you cut, and then you can decide if you want to make a double page or a single page. These are mainly focused on single pages, but you can decide your paper's fate as to what you would like to make it. So yes, I keep interrupting myself with this last part of the video, is if you're unsure about the patterns that you choose and what you're going to make of it, just trust the process. More than likely, if you pick it from a paper pad or a paper collection, if the color scheme is the same, or if the color scheme goes with each other and you're focused on the color, then if you pick from different collections, it really will look okay. It's the same as picking a mini kit. You just make sure that the color story that you chose goes well with each other, and the collections, if they're different, will fall into place on your layout. So just give it a go, have some fun with it. Just keep track of those papers the way you assign the number to them, and then we will see you on Monday with layout number 1 from this 4x4 series. Thanks again, Janet, for providing us with the cuts and the I guess the outline of this whole premise and the idea for the 4x4. I really have enjoyed it. I've done it only once, and I actually did it with a paper set that I wasn't too sure of. I'll go ahead and leave a playlist of the 4x4 series that I did, trying out Janet's first video series set of this 4x4 series. It is really fun to try out, and the best part is that she also puts in 4 cards at the end. So if you're not really a card maker, these are fun to make. Since this is kind of fall theme, these would be easy to just make without even thinking. You already have these supplies out, and then you have 4 ready-made cards at the end of your layouts. So anyway, thank you so much for watching again, and we'll see you in the next video on Monday. Bye!